here we are. So last we left off, you guys arrived once again back at Opias. Had just gotten there, had a few, had some interesting times on the roads where you met a little goblin girl named Peek, who had a dream of becoming a fortune teller because she found a pack of tarot cards on a dead body, and why not, you know?
It's just what you do.
She gave you guys some buttons. It was pretty snazzy. The guards were very suspicious, but like, you guys were dealing with her. She's your problem. But upon arriving back at the city, she ran off towards the lake and in search of fish to catch and probably eat raw. And so, having arrived back at the city, Lord Fanon immediately begins to set about the process of having his guards take care of the horses and carriages, take them to the stables. And he turns to you guys and says, well, it's arrangement will be coming to a conclusion shortly. We just need to get to the Arcane Athenaeum, get the book handed over, and then we need not have any further interaction if you do not choose. Let us be on. And he starts to make his way in the general direction of the National Archives.
I'll follow.
Yeah. We're there.
Yeah, Levy's gonna follow.
If he's heading straight to Varhasa, we should probably follow.
The city looks pretty much unchanged as you left it. It's loud. There are people bustling about. The marketplace is still the epicenter of the city. When you reach the district of the city that houses the wealthy people along with the National Archives, the guards see you all with Lord Thanon, and they do give you looks because you're a weird group, but they can see Lord Thanon is a very fancy fellow and should probably be let in. And guys are able to get through without issue. Are there any conversations that want to happen while you're on your way?
I don't have anything.
I don't think I have anything I want to say out in public.
Okay.
I'm just going to like Demiris.
Actually, Levy's going to have actually she's gonna if B is like behind everybody else, she's gonna drop back a little bit, and kind of quietly ask for like a moment of B's time.
B will sign, hello, of course. Just, really simple.
Yeah. Levy's gonna smile at her and kind of look away because she's feeling a little awkward about it, and just goes, I meant to thank you earlier for helping me back in the carriage. It means a lot to me.
B will smile and give a big nod.
Levy's gonna smile back, and she's just because like hand holding has been a trend with B, she's gonna like hold out her hand to see if B will take it.
Yeah, B will take it, and she'll give it a little squeeze.
Hell yeah. Friendship.
Yes.
I gotta say, I'm low-key imagining like in The Wizard of Oz when they're linking arms and skipping together. That's what I'm picturing for B and Levy right now.
Heck
And
yeah.
frankly, it's what they deserve. So, arriving.
You will hum lute music.
I'm gonna say you've heard both Hawk and Demir play now, so
Levy's gonna
Wait,
nod
can
her
B
head
just-
along to it.
Become an entire orchestra unto herself?
if she
That's a
wants
really
to.
good question.
Yeah.
Levy's a one-woman band. Well, B is a one-woman band. Am I okay? I'm not okay.
You're tired. It's okay.
It's
I
happened.
was thinking B, and then not B came out of my mouth, and I was like, "Hello."
It's
God?
okay.
Hello, I'm here.
Hello.
Hello.
Like all things with my mother, it's
You're cutting out a little.
went a little longer than I expected.
It's cool.
Well, no, can't say I wasn't expecting it. Say it was unexpected that it went a little longer than I thought, but
We
You
just
good?
started. We hung around for a little while, kind of stalled, but we just started. You guys are on your way to the Arcane Athenaeum right now. And B is a one-woman band. As she deserves.
God, how is B so fucking talented?
Kenku, man.
She sacrificed her ability to speak for her ability to perfectly replicate any music that she's heard.
She sacrificed her ability to speak for the ability to sing.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, if I had the same opportunity, I would probably do the same thing.
Yeah, same. I would be like, "No, that's a fair trade. Let's go."
We're saying that like you can't just communicate only via musical numbers,
Just turn your life
Have
into
you
a
ever
musical.
seen a musical, Devin?
right?
B's like that Vine where the one guy like he strums his guitar and he puts his voice over it, and then he like cuts to another perspective of himself, opens his mouth, and guitar music comes out.
Iconic.
That's just B.
That's exactly what B is.
B opens her mouth and All Star starts playing.
You know the scene in Lilo and Stitch where Stitch puts his claw on the record and then he
Yes.
opens his mouth and the record plays out? That's what B is
B.
doing right now.
And I
Does
love
that mean if she
The
if she,
living
like,
phonograph.
puts her hand in somebody else's, she can play whatever's going on in their heads? Terrifying.
I hope so.
Not at this level, I'll say.
B gains new power. Just fucking broadcast someone's thoughts.
God, horrible.
Yikes!
I'm
I
afraid.
mean, detect
I'm
thoughts
very afraid.
is a spell, I'm pretty sure.
Detect
I love
thoughts
it.
is a spell. It's a different thing broadcasting it
No
out
thoughts, head
Uh,
empty.
I will say that can be an Eldritch invocation available if you have a great old one patron. So.
Ooh.
B, you better
so-
get on that.
Yeah, B. Go for
Better
it.
start looking for Cthulhu, I guess.
Gotta find him first.
Lish, you're a warlock patron. Do you know any eldritch horrors?
The only patron I'm allowing is myself.
Well, then can you become an
I will,
eldritch horror?
I will say I do know an Eldritch Horror, but we don't talk about my ex-wife.
I'm sure
I
my
said,
goddess
"That's not
would
a
love
camel,
that if I
my
accepted
wife."
powers from just some random like thing. My goddess would not be upset by that at all.
Oh yeah. I mean, as far as B knows, the Eldritch horrors are in the sky, so they would count.
Anyway, we're heading to the
Okay.
Oh yeah, right. We're playing a game.
Oh yeah, there's a track we're supposed to be on.
Shit.
There we go.
So arriving at the Arcane Athenaeum, Lord Thanen goes to one of the white-robed librarians and speaks to him for a moment. And the librarian kind of looks at you all and says, will you be joining Lord Thanen and Lady Varhasa?
Yeah, I think we'd like to.
Very well. And the librarian starts to lead you guys upstairs.
Demir is going to catch Toby's arm as they're headed up and just kind of hang on to him. Not saying anything about it, but
Tobias lets her do so.
All right. So as you may recall, the first level of the tower is basically the public library. The second level is slightly more restricted with some more restricted books, usually only open for scholars or students, people doing research, more primary sources on that level. And he takes you to the third level, which is where the residential section of the tower begins. And he actually takes you to the same room that Varhasa took you guys to before. Little study with a few bookshelves. There's the table there that had a tea set on it previously, but this time Varhasa is sitting at the table kind of taking notes, and she looks up at you all as you enter. Well, welcome back. And
we found him.
Lord Thanen comes forward, and you guys can kind of tell that he's trying to kind of show off for her a little bit. He kind of sweeps low and takes her hand and kisses it and says, how wonderful it is to see you. I have the book as requested. I apologize for the delay. There was something of a bit of trouble at my household. And Varhasa's like, no problem at all. And I am prepared to add it to the collection. Is there anything I should know about the book before turning it over to be studied? We have a section for the more dangerous books that people aren't allowed to look at willy-nilly. And if you believe that this book is a potential danger, you can go there. And he shakes his head and he kind of withdraws from his bag this green book with sort of golden filigree on the cover that looks sort of like vine work. And Varhasa beckons the librarian who led you guys up here and passes the librarian a piece of parchment and quill. And Varhasa says, you have to verbally give us permission to keep this book and study it for the time being, if you so choose. Please state your name and the current date for the record. And Lord Thanen says, I, Lord Thanen of Umlar House, within the year 1837 of the Ninth Era, hereby give permission for this book to be studied by use of the arcane Athenaeum. The librarian writes that down, kind of puts it with the book. Librarian takes it and starts to head off.
Wait, you got... What was that date again?
Are you asking Varhasa or Lord Thanen?
Just asking the room. Like, that's wrong.
Varhasa looks kind of confused and she says, no, it is 1837.
Oh, sorry, you're right. I just, I woke up on the wrong side of the carriage.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, Toby can feel her visibly like gripping him a little tighter and kind of withdrawing a little to his side. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He places a reassuring hand over her own, keeping silent, but kind of just being a reassuring presence / allowing himself to be used for comfort for her.
Lord Thanen starts trying to chat up Varhasa, and she's kind of doing the very polite, oh really, that's interesting sort of thing.
Rip.
Forgot I was muted. Does Varhasa look uncomfortable at all, or just like she's just humoring him?
Roll an insight check.
Oh boy. Fuck. Okay. 9?
Hard to tell.
Okay. But Levy did gather that like a couple sessions ago that like he had a thing for her, if I recall.
He had a thing for her. He does also have something in mind. Other than that, though. That was what
in mind.
Oh boy. Well,
he may have ulterior motives of some kind.
Well, she doesn't trust that, at least, even if Varhasa doesn't seem to be obviously not having like any of his shit. So she's actually going to be a rude commoner. And kind of maybe girl. Find a pause in the conversation to break in and say, just enthusiastically and all sunshiny and shit, oh, hello, Varhasa, in Elvish.
Hello again. You said your name was Miss Levy, correct?
She's going to nod and like kind of beam at her, just like she's tickled that she remembers, but like also she's playing it up a bit.
And she says to Lord Thanen, excuse me for just a moment, turns to the rest of you and says, once again, thank you so much for your help about looking into this matter. And she looks at B and Lish and says, I don't think we've met before.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, kind of as we were coming in, since Lish hadn't met her before, do I get that deja vu sort of feeling looking at her?
You do, yes, and B, you do too.
Can I try and I don't know, make an insight check to see if I can't feel like I can place her at all, search my feelings?
Go for it.
B will give a little bow and say, nice to meet you. And just kind of look a little confused at meet. But be nice.
So just a quick reminder of a description. She is a drow who uses a wheelchair, and she has a lunar moth familiar that's about the size of a cat. And when you say nice to meet you, B, the lunar moth kind of flutters close to you and goes around your head in a circle before going back closer to Varhasa.
B will hold up a finger for it to perch on if it wants to.
Yeah,
and just look absolutely delighted.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's a lunar moth. It's soft, but it's the size of a cat, which can also be kind of disarming in a way. But yeah, it perches on your finger.
B will just beam at it and cast guidance on it.
Okay.
Yes.
What B does.
So, Lish, what was the result of that insight check?
I got a 19.
19. There's something about her that feels familiar, but you can't quite place. It's the same kind of vibe as when you looked at the faces of the others when you woke up in the field with them. And also Hawk when you met him and looked at the picture he provided you guys with. It feels almost like you might have seen her somewhere in a dream, but you can't quite place it.
In a dream.
That face! I've seen it in my dreams.
God, I haven't thought about Oblivion in a while. Okay.
He kind of looks thoughtful, a little confused at kind of that, and says, I'm Lish. Are you certain that we have not met before? You seem awfully familiar.
She kind of leans back for a minute and says, I got that same sort of familiarity as well. I don't recall ever having met you before, though. My apologies.
Go out to forests often.
She kind of chuckles and kind of glances at the bookshelves against the wall and then kind of gives a casual hand wave gesture towards her wheelchair and says, not with any real regularity, I'm afraid. Unless, of course, you have spent a great deal of time in the underwilds of Saya.
DM, what's that? Would I know anything about that?
Yeah, it's essentially a bioluminescent forest underground. It kind of separates the free Underdark and Wolf's Reach.
That
of this
seems like
continent.
something I'd be down to clown with, but probably not with any real memory.
You know, yeah, it's not really your area.
Well,
He is gonna try and make eye
oh.
contact with Demir.
Yeah, I was gonna say while Varhasa is talking to Lish, Tamir is kind of trying to catch her eye, like, damn, a little bit. But probably ends up catching bees first, since I imagine that Varhasa is a polite person who looks at the person that she is talking to.
Yeah. Lord Thanon, meanwhile, is kind of just standing there next to the table, and he's like quietly fuming.
Cock blocking him is great.
B is
Talk
gonna
about the
sign you okay with the letters, just because Demir knows the letters. So she's just going to sign you okay and tilt her head.
Do I need to make an int check to get that, or?
No, you know the alphabet at this point. I will say that you guys probably practiced a little bit on the road too, in between peak stories, so it would be fresh in your mind.
Yeah. Demir is just going to like sign yeah. Sign back yes. I don't remember how to do that. I should remember, but I don't.
You make a
Yeah.
fist and you nod with your fist.
Yeah, just a little like close, like yeah.
That's really cute.
Hasa definitely
B will
notices,
look
but she doesn't say
worried, but
anything.
nod and move on. She won't press it, but
Press X.
when Lish and Varhas are done with their thing of like Spider-Man pointing meme, do I know you? Yeah, Levy's actually going to say in common, I'm sorry if it's too much to ask, but I was wondering if perhaps I could spend some time in the library while we're here. It's been so long since I've been in a decent archive. And that is a dig at Lord Thanon.
Ooh.
Roll an insult
Ooh.
check.
Don't tempt me, I will.
Oh, jeez.
She nods and says, of course, that was part of our arrangement. You'd have free access to the second floor. Just be careful. Some of the texts there are older than others, and humans frequently don't make things to last too long, so I don't want anything to break, but I'm sure you're fine.
She nods emphatically and says, oh no, don't worry, I know how to treat books.
And Lord Thanon cuts in at this point and says to Varhasa, it is quite lovely getting to see you again. I think it would be fantastic if we could have dinner and perhaps catch up. If no one says anything to this,
Levy is going to be like, oh, but I do have so many questions for you, man.
I have a quick question as far as insight watching the two of them having talked before. You said that he seemed to have like an ulterior motive aside from just wanting to get in her pants. Can I like see if I can kind of get at what that might be?
Yeah, roll insight just while it's fresh, watching the two of them interact.
Can I also perhaps do that?
Yeah, go for it. Anyone who wants to, really.
That's a 9.
11.
We don't
You
know.
guys, you guys think
Wait. Hold on. Okay, that's a 22 for me.
Demir
Okay.
pulls out the big brains.
Lish and Levy, you just think he's weird.
is this insight?
Yeah.
Hang on. Every time my internet does something weird, I have to re-enter Roll20.
Oh no.
Oh,
Is
boy.
it,
Not
is it
it,
doing
Chief.
the upstairs I hate this thing?
Yep.
Garbage.
Yeah, I'm in my room and I'm in my room and the Wi-Fi does not like reaching in here.
I know the feeling. I'm like the furthest
23
possible
for
from our
insight.
router.
Oh, okay. So, yeah,
Damn.
Lish and Levy, you guys think that he's weird. Demir and B, you guys can tell he wants to figure something specific out about her, and he wants an excuse to stay in her home so that he can find something out.
Weird.
Hmm.
And actually, as you guys are insight checking, he's Varhasa says, "Oh, I don't go to many of the restaurants around town," and he says, "That's perfectly fine. We can stay here in the tower."
I don't think that would work out. We already have plans for this evening to go over the documents and books that we brought back.
Her face kind of brightens and at that, and she says, "Yes, I'm so sorry, Lord Thanen. Perhaps we can schedule for another time in the future." He's salty.
Well, I'm sure you'll get a chance to visit with her eventually.
Do you have any other business that you need to take care of, Lord Thanen? Because I would rather like to discuss something with the archivist myself in private.
And Levy's going to tack on, "Oh, and I do have so many questions for her in particular."
We wouldn't want to hold you back from anything important.
Just
Varhasa,
go. I'm sure you must have some business important as you are.
y'all.
Oh.
Varhasa actually even kind of chips in and says, "Perhaps you can go about securing your lodgings for the evening, and we can discuss matters very soon. Once again, it was quite a pleasure to see you." And he huffs and leaves.
B
Varha-
will
Varhasa.
say quietly to her, in Iren's voice, "Keep your wits about you," and then switching to Lish's with that one.
Levy's going to stick her tongue out at Lord Thanen's back as he leaves.
Aaron
I'd
is
like to.
going to look
Go ahead.
around somewhat confusedly because he had not been reading the vibe in this room correctly.
I love him.
Varhasa will turn to you guys and say, "Thank you so much for that."
I'd like to point out that Lord Thanen exited the room, and Hawk's probably really close to the exit. He is as still as a statue.
Lish is gonna look to Varhasa, and he's gonna kind of raise a brow at her and say, "He wants something from you that's more than just a relationship, it seems."
Yes, I have been getting that impression from him.
Do you know what he wants? He seems quite determined.
I'm afraid I do. Roll a persuasion check.
Anyone that bugs our friends with is automatically cool and trustworthy.
This
16.
is true.
16.
16.
She like he is hoping to investigate rumors about me and my family.
Why?
Oh.
My family is a little unconventional.
Many are. Doesn't mean that they get investigated.
I was born in the North Reach section of the Underdark. And my brother and I escaped together. But my brother does not get out very much. So people sometimes in certain circles can be a little curious about that.
That doesn't sound exceptionally fair on his part.
Does your brother do anything strange? Some kind of strange magic, or why would he be worth investigating? Why would people be curious?
Well, people are a little odd. I like to. He is my younger brother, and I do what I can to protect him. People are untrustworthy of me due to my high position, the ease at which I came to this position, which I assure you was luck entirely, and the fact that I was a drow of North Reach.
And Space just.
Lish kind of raises his brow at that and says, well, that's altogether interesting, considering that he's romantically interested in you. My initial impression was that he was interested in your brother, maybe to see if your brother was just as attractive as you are.
Someone has spread a rumor that either I have no brother to begin with, and am actually spying for North Reach.
By hiding your brother away.
I don't understand it. People in all walks of life can be cruel, unfortunately.
He lives in this city then. Why does he not just walk the streets for a day and then go back into hiding? Seems easily rectified.
Well, I'm concerned about how people will respond. As I said, he's rather unconventional.
Define unconventional.
Levy's gonna clear her throat and kind of break in, and she looks visibly uncomfortable by this whole conversation and the theme thereof, but she's going to say, well, as somebody who has been hidden away for being a bit unconventional up until recently, ultimately it is both your and his choice, of course, but also it's none of anybody's business if the two of you really don't want them knowing.
Well, of course not. But
it's a shame that people are so nosy.
I would like Lish and Levy to roll persuasion checks.
$16.
22.
Ooh.
Okay.
You're right. It's nobody's goddamn business.
So Varhasa kind of takes a deep breath, and she starts to kind of gesture with her hands in a way that you guys recognize as a spell. And she is holding her fingers like this, casts a circle and draws the room, and then she kind of speaks to her fingers like this and says, Theoden, would you mind coming downstairs, please? I am in my my third floor office. And she says, I really appreciate your kind words. There is a very specific reason that my brother can't go out day to day. I'm concerned less about what he will do, as he is very capable of taking care of himself. I'm more concerned of what other people will do. And at this point, you guys can kind of hear some, how do I describe it? Some loud noises.
Demir getting flashbacks to a certain
Demir, you are very much reminded of your dream, but the door opens very carefully, and standing within the doorway, you suddenly get an explanation for why the doorways of this building were built so wide and so tall. Because this hulking creature is about like 8 feet tall. It's got 4 arms, 2 of which are like large and beefy, more muscular with the claws, and the second pair are much more normal size. And his skin tone is similar to that of Varhasa's, but a much more grayer tone rather than purple. He's got kind of a mane of white hair that trails down his spine, and his face it looks humanoid, but has been stretched into something more lupine. And do any of you speak Undercommon?
I don't think so.
So he says something to Varhasa in Undercommon. He kind of looks confused at your guys' presence in the room, but he comes in, shuts the door behind him.
The minute Demir like sees his outline in the doorway, she is kind of stepping back a little bit and actually casts invisibility on herself. She is still clinging to Toby, but she is invisible.
Okay.
She is gone.
Aaron,
Rude.
Aaron's
When
first response
she
on
steps
the other
back,
hand.
Tobias goes to breaks away from looking at the creature to look at her, and then she goes invisible, and he's like confused because he's like, where did she
The
what
happened.
he has like a mixture of confusion and concern
she
on
be?
his
I
face.
swear to God, there was a Demir here a few seconds ago.
He can still
She's
feel
still
her holding him.
Yeah.
well, like, he can still feel her holding, but he's like, this is a this is an extreme reaction. Okay. Eventually he will settle for turn himself slightly so that he can still turn and look at Thana and stuff, but he will be standing a little more in front of Demir with his arm held behind him so that she can still hold on to him.
First response is to
Leave me by contrast. Or sorry.
Turns to Varhasa and says, "Your brother?"
Yes, this is Theoden. And Theoden, he says in broken comment. It's clear it's not his best language. And his voice is very, very deep. And he says, "Hello. I do not know you."
Hello. My name is Aaron. Yeah, okay. And then it's just gonna start introducing people, I guess.
Levy is delighted. She is beaming from ear to ear. She's just like, this large man is great.
Have I ever seen anything like this before?
Roll a nature check.
Would Levy have read about somebody like this?
You also roll a nature check.
Ah, fuck me.
That's a 6.
No, not really your thing.
Yeah, that's a 3.
Brow shenanigans.
This is Tobias and Levy and Lish and B and we're the Wild Roses. Oh my god.
Lish seems interested, not like afraid, but just kind of like, I don't know what you are.
Theoden
I'm curious.
Theoden kind of thinks for a minute and then sticks out one of his more human-like arms for someone to shake, and Varhasa kind of nods encouragingly.
Levy shakes that hand. She's just like, yes! She is going to ask very excitedly in Elvish, do you perhaps speak Elvish, friend?
Just check.
Does he perhaps speak Elven, friend?
Tobias does give a polite bow when he is addressed / when Aaron says his name.
I do speak Elvish, yes. I am still learning Common.
Levy is just pleased to just punch. She's nodding enthusiastically, and she's like, well, I suppose at least you and I could have a few conversations while we're here.
I can. My big sister says I should practice Common. And he's speaking low and very slowly. And you just get the impression that's just kind of how his voice is.
Oh, I love that.
And he starts to speak to Varhasa in Undercommon a little bit more. And she responds back. They're conversing a little bit if anyone has anything to say.
You seem like a woman of great esteem. I don't see why not with a little preparation of the people you wouldn't be able to take your brother out. I think it is more shock and concern and fear that would cause people to have an issue, but with preparation, protection for your brother.
Well, as I said, people
If it's
can
something
be
he's
cool.
interested in.
I have actually spoken to Theoden at great length about this, and perhaps someday, once he's a little bit older, he's still rather young. People don't take kindly, for the most part, to half demons, and Theoden is very much a product of the culture of Lorth's Reach, the culture there, and people are by and large very distrustful for good reason. But there's work to be done.
Levy is nodding along and she looks sad, like she definitely understands what she's talking about.
Aaron looks conflicted.
Hawk finally just like staggers a bit and like looks like he's like come to his senses or something. He shakes his head a little, sort of clutches it, and he looks up and says, "That's quite unfortunate. I, unfortunately for myself, can sympathize. Hopefully someday things change."
And Theoden says, we go out at night sometimes into the fields, look at the moon and the stars.
That sounds fun.
It is safer then, and it is easier to see.
I've done that quite a lot myself, actually, and as a child.
Do you like the moon and the stars?
They're lovely, but when I could sneak out during the day, I really did like to look at a nice sunny field of flowers a bit more. But the stars are very pretty.
Sun hurts my eyes sometimes. And
Levy will nod emphatically.
you'd know this. Creatures of the Underdark aren't usually a fan of the sun, oddly.
Levy's actually going to reach for her bag and take out her notebook. And ask, and as she's flipping through it, she's going to be like, "You don't get to see flowers very much, do you?"
He kind of thinks for a minute and then switches to Elvish. In the Underdark, there are many flowers. They glow. They vine. Some are dangerous and can consume unwary.
Levy's nodding along and she seems very interested. "I'd love to hear more about them sometime," she'll say in Elvish now. But she actually is going to dig out some of the flowers she pressed earlier in our game, and she's going to hand them to him. And she's going to be like, "They're not exactly very well preserved, but I want you to have them."
He kind of like sits down near Varhasa's wheelchair on the ground, and there's like a loud thump when he sits down. You kind of get the impression he mostly stays up on the higher levels of the tower, so that he's not so loud for the people visiting the library. And he reaches for the flowers with like one of his big hands and kind of takes it between his claws and looks at it. And he reaches up and starts to try and put it in Varhasa's hair.
I love this large man.
And then when it's there, he's kind of says, in broken common, "Thank you. I like dandelions."
Oh, I love him.
B will repeat in his voice. I like dandelions.
He'll look at B and kind of like nod enthusiastically. They are soft, yes.
B will actually fuss around in her bag for a minute and pull out a piece of paper with a actually fairly detailed sketch of a dandelion. Starting to blow away. And she'll hand it to him and say, "For you."
He starts to reach out with his bigger hand, then kind of realizes, wait, my claws will puncture the paper and ruin it. Hang on. And switches to his smaller hand and takes it. And he kind of just holds it and looks at it. And it's kind of weird because it looks like he's trying to smile, but the way his face is shaped, it's kind of odd and it looks like he's grimacing, but you get the picture.
All right.
Poor man.
I love it.
He's delightful.
Varhasa, by the way, for her part, looks immensely relieved with how you guys are reacting. You get the impression that it may not be the first time that a fight has broken out, perhaps, between people who've been less understanding.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
So Theoden is he kind of sets the picture that B drew on his lap, like very carefully. He doesn't want to wrinkle it or like tear it accidentally or anything, which given his size is probably a pretty common occurrence. And he's starting to braid very carefully with his more human hands some of the flowers into Varhasa's hair that Levy had given.
Levy looks just pleased as punch. She's gonna rejoin the rest of the party though, like kind of fall back a little bit to just give space for the big man to move.
Mm-hmm. It's clear that the tower has been modified so that he can move about it without too much trouble, but the room itself isn't enormous, so he is moving slower than you get the impression he probably can. It's odd because the way he's built, it looks like he's very strong and built like sort of in an ogre-like way, but you also get the impression looking at him that he can be very fast if he wants to be. And he's moving very slowly in this room to avoid like knocking anything over.
Has anyone seen Demir? I think I've lost track of her.
Yeah,
Lish is
Toby?
immediately like, wait, the fuck? Like looking at Tobias like,
You lost a whole person.
Tobias,
It's like losing your car keys, except shit, I can't find Demir.
Tobias keeps a calm / neutral expression as he just calmly states, "She's here. She's safe."
Aaron's just gonna nod along 100%, accepting that lack of an explanation.
Lish is not okay with that explanation.
Hawk says with like just a confused tone, how do you know? Where did she go?
Actually, that's Demir is going to let go of Tobias.
Lish is going over to Tobias and
The moment Demir lets go of Tobias's hand, he immediately whirls around and grabs her.
For the purposes of this, so you are trying to grab her. For the purposes of this, let's say a grapple check, even if you're not really like jumping on her and bear hugging
I
her.
mean, she is invisible, so you probably
Yeah.
can't just do it
And-
casually.
Toby comps Demir.
Yeah, and well, it's going to be a contested check. So, Demir, let's see. With this,
Oh boy, grapple rolls.
a acrobatics check, I'd say with advantage because you are invisible. How long does the spell last?
It lasts up to an hour.
Okay.
I looked that up. Yeah. Okay. Acrobatics.
So acrobatics.
Or until she attacks something.
Yeah.
That's a natural 20.
Okay.
Shit, that's a 9.
Yeah, Tobias, you lost her.
You miss.
Tobias's expression immediately goes to a more shocked one and then serious. Before he just turns and looks at Lish. Lish, would you be able to detect Demir even if she was invisible?
I mean, I can still feel her.
You can. Varhasa doesn't know that though, and she says, I can cast fairy fire if
No, it's fine. Is Demir running or is she staying in the room?
So actually just about at that point you kind of hear from like the back corner like, you guys really can't see me.
No, darling, we can't.
Huck's just like starts looking around.
Demir,
He's
did
got no
something
clue what the hell's going on.
happen to you?
I'm going over to where I can sense her
okay.
into whatever corner she's backed herself up into.
Demir is a little surprised because she didn't entirely mean to cast that spell. It just kind of happened.
Charisma caster mood.
And she like when Lish comes by while invisible, she is going to like wave her hand in front of his face to see if he reacts at all.
You can kind of feel the air of her moving her hand.
Like flinch, like the fuck? You trying to hit me?
No.
And I'm gonna try and like reach out and see if I can't find her.
I'm going to like grab onto Lish's arm when he's reaching out.
Okay.
And
I'll pull her close. What's wrong? Are you just playing around with magic?
it's nothing.
It's
Sorry.
not nothing.
Can we talk about this somewhere else?
Okay. You want to go?
It's fine. I just don't know how to stop this.
You could hit me. Or you could just drop it. You know how to drop a spell, don't you? Remember, like we practiced.
Okay. Demir takes like a couple deep breaths and then she's going to drop the invisibility.
At this point, Varhasa is looking towards you two, concerned. Theoden, however, has turned towards B at this point, and kind of holds up the drawing of the dandelion and says, still in broken common, did you draw?
Yes.
Are you artist?
She kind of chuckles and says, maybe.
He nods and says, I tried to paint, but I broke the brush. And he kind of like gestures with his bigger hand, like this, like in motion of a snapping of a pencil accidentally. And then he kind of reaches out towards B, like part way, like this, and says, you should keep draw. It is good.
You'll nod and say, thank you. And she'll sit down on the floor and gesture for him to sit down too. Just crisscross applesauce.
He'll kind of like scoot over and sit down next to her.
And she'll spread out some papers on the floor and set down an ink pot. And she'll make sure he's looking and just dip her finger in the ink pot and then start to do a little doodle of him just with her claw on one of the pieces of paper.
So the way that he's sitting, he's kind of got his knees to his chest, and he's got his lower pair of arms, the more humanoid ones, kind of on his knees, and then the bigger ones propping him up on the back so that it looks kind of like he's in a lounging position, and he is like enraptured with this. He is really into this drawing that you're doing.
You can too, if you want.
You said you had an ink pot out?
Yeah. And you know, just made sure that he could see that she was just dipping her finger in and not using a brush.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's enough to not tip over the ink pot. He reaches one of his bigger hands over and very like carefully dips his finger in and kind of just draws a line across the page.
He will beam at him.
What's everyone else doing?
She would clap, but then ink would go everywhere because physics. So she's just gonna smile proudly and then go back to her drawing.
Oh, I love that.
Is there anything else that we needed to do here? You got your book?
Varhasa will kind of tear her gaze away from where Bee and Theoden are drawing together and look towards Demir and say, I will have my people study this tome and I will get back to you with what information I can. Do you have a place that you live here? Otherwise, I can attempt to send couriers out if it's too long to send through a sending spell. I would be happy to otherwise just alert you to that I have information via sending.
What was the name of that inn?
Yeah, Demir is not looking at, like, she's not meeting anyone's eyes, and just kind of I think we were staying at the Red Cap Inn. Was that what it was called?
I don't remember.
I think it was the Red Cap's Rest, I recall.
All right. We were staying at the Red Cap Just rest.
Very well. I should have you know that it might be a little while. Sometimes these texts can be encrypted, and so we'll do what we can. If I do not find you at the inn, I will send you the message. Is that is that okay with you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
What was the text?
Are you asking in character or?
Yes.
Lord Theoden had some warlocks in his family. A pact that has since come to an end, but they did have a family grimoire that he has donated to the archives for studying.
What kind of warlocks?
Well, I do not know too much of the specifics, but something about, as he described it, Archfey in the theater, actually.
Does that ring a bell to me at all?
Yeah, actually, you do know of a specific Archfey whose name I am pulling up right now. But he is fond of making pacts with mortals to try to convince them to. He's essentially the patron of starving artists. Like he's like, hey,
He's
you
a
know
patron
what?
of the arts.
He is
Literal patron of the arts.
Amazing.
He would make deals with people, essentially like, hey, you know, if you come and perform in my plays that I put on every single night in the Feywild,
Forever.
I will make it so that you have you're really talented and you're able to get money and perform on the material plane.
Bard warlock hybrid.
Yeah, essentially.
Oh boy.
Um,
I got up to make coffee because I was fighting off sleep tooth and nail. Where are we?
In the archives.
Okay, but where in the archives?
Up in the archives quarters upstairs.
Okay,
We
so we
haven't left
haven't
the room.
moved.
you're in
Okay.
her
We
office,
haven't
yeah.
left.
Still in our office. Okay.
Lish hearing that is going, and knowing who was responsible, is gonna snort. And he's gonna look at Demir and he's gonna say, we risked life and limb to find a book about this.
The Fey guy's name in particular is Tulani, by the way. Since you'd know. Not his real name, but he is under the jurisdiction of the Summer Court.
Mm-hmm.
But you know of him.
Mm.
He's kind of full of himself.
They're all full of themselves.
They're archfey.
He's
Archfey.
okay, hold
More
up.
so
Not
in that,
only-
like, my performances could bring Shakespeare to tears. That
exactly.
Sort of
like
vibe.
not only is he
Yeah.
an archfey, but he's an archfey that's basically a film director.
His
Yeah.
plays bring not
Michael
only
Bay.
Michael
Vanity.
Fay.
tears of boredom.
I hate it here, actually. Michael fucking Fay.
You still love us. As much as you
Debatable.
hate to admit it right now.
Debatable.
So yeah, I say that to Demir.
Mira is wishing she could cast invisibility again. Not looking at
Oh,
anyone. Not even Lish.
He's just gonna give her a little comforting squeeze hug. And
Wug.
just kind of looks like he wants to leave a bit. Like, are we done here? You can certainly stay and play with her brother, but he wants to go.
Levy wants to stay and nerd out.
Tobias will speak up and ask Varhasa, in your archive, do you perhaps have any books about lycanthropy?
Well, there are a few about lycanthropy in particular. What vein are you looking for in particular?
Blood hunters. Bears.
I do know of a couple of potential books on hemocraft and some connection to lycanthropes. I can send someone to find those for you if you so choose.
That would be much appreciated, yes, or at the very least if they could guide me to where those books are.
Very well. She cast sending again. Excuse me, would one of you mind finding some books on hemocraft and lycanthropy and set them at the front desk? And then she says to you again, Toby, they are finding them. You should be able to go to the front desk on the lower level, and they will get them for you.
He gives her a short bow. Thank you. I'm grateful.
Levy's gonna try and catch Toby's eye. She's gonna kind of lean and try and like catch his eye.
He glances over to her and adds, "You can join me if you'd like."
Levy actually kind of beams and nods and goes over to like join him. I can help you comb through texts if you like.
I feel like I'm going to need the help.
Well, it was one of the only hobbies I've ever really had, so I'm really good at it.
He gives a chuckle at that.
B, are you still drawing with Theoden?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just being really encouraging of whatever he draws. Trying to, make a picture of him that he'll like, but mostly just showing him how to do it.
His drawings look kind of childish, probably because of his size.
And also because it's just a wholesome encounter.
Yeah.
You're saying these words, but I think you're actually wrong, and he's the best artist to have ever lived, so.
And actually, when you guys are done with the drawing, he picks it up carefully and shows it to Varhasa and speaks in Undercommon, and Varhasa smiles and talks to him more in Undercommon.
I think
please
kind of
put it on the fridge.
I think probably before Levy and the brother are done with their drawing session, since Demir doesn't really seem to be recovering from her shock or what have you, Lish will probably excuse himself and kind of try and bring Demir downstairs into the main archive area. Just kind of out of the room.
Okay.
Yeah, Demir just kind of like not really resisting, just kind of follows along.
All right.
Gonna find a chair to plop her down in and kneel down in front of her and just be like, what is going on? I've never seen you afraid of something like that. You know that there are bigger and meaner looking things that we've come across in the Feywild together.
No, it's just I had a dream about him. That sounds crazy, but
You had a dream about him? What do you mean?
remember that night in the hotel?
Yes.
Well, I had a dream that I was trapped in that place and that he was coming for me,
He was coming for you
I think.
in the dream. That was days ago. That was before we'd even gone to the archives, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. It was weird. I didn't know what to think of it. I thought it was just a nightmare.
Hmm.
It's been 7 years.
Has it been? Since when?
How long was I in? I was in the Feywild for 7 years.
Well, no, you were in the Feywild for about a year. But you know time moves differently.
It does?
Yes.
Demir kind of like pulls her hands back from him and just I 7 years.
Well, it's not like you've aged them.
No, I guess this should be a good thing. At least everyone thinks I'm dead. 7 years would be a
Only
long time
7
to hold
years.
out for hope. So
Hold
at
out
least I
for
know they're
hope.
not looking for me.
You wouldn't want to be found by them anyways?
No, I don't. I just
I'm
not
confused.
something I have to worry about. That's all. It's good to know.
Why would you be worried about that? We're not even close to your homeland. I thought that would be something that would make you happy, if you even thought about it.
Yes, it's fine. It's perfect. It's great.
Then why are you mad?
I'm not mad.
Oh, really?
Just disappointed.
She's not angry, she said angrily.
It's not something that I did. It is the nature of the Feywild.
It was just surprising, that's all. All of it. It's just surprising.
I'm more concerned about why you're seeing this demon-kin in your dreams. If that is something that it is able to do, perhaps. Perhaps it is not as harmless as I had thought.
I don't know.
It chased you in the archives, you said.
I was in a room and it was coming for me. I couldn't get out. I was trapped, that's all. And unless you have granted me vision into the future.
Not anytime soon. But maybe you'll work your way up to something like that.
Oh. No, I don't need that.
We've already come so far. I've been very impressed.
I didn't even know I could do that. I just didn't want to be seen. I didn't even realize it had happened until people were asking for me.
You've got more in you than you think. More power, more ability than you give yourself credit for. And it's not just my magic. It's all you. Should I go interrogate the brother in the middle of their drawing session about this dream? Feel like perhaps it's a conversation for another time.
Yeah, just leave it. It's fine.
If you experience another dream, I want you to tell me right away. These don't seem natural. It was just
Am I
a
supposed
nightmare.
to tell you every dream I have?
Only the good ones.
No.
What's that face? The horror. That's a meme face right there.
No. I don't know what dream is a vision or not.
Did it seem realer than other dreams?
Dreams feel, I guess, I think. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, use your discretion, I suppose. Are you okay? Do you want to go back upstairs or should we go and do something else? I, for one, want to get out of here.
Yeah. Let's go get rooms at the inn for everyone.
Okay. I'll go
That
tell
way-
the others.
Okay. And Tamir's going to start making her way down to the door, the entrance, exit, whatever you call it, main area.
Main entrance.
Okay.
And I will
Main, yeah.
go back upstairs and say that we're gonna go get rooms. Whomever wants to join us can.
All right.
Aaron will join you.
Yay, Aaron road trip.
And Aaron will probably turn to Hawk and ask if Hawk wants to come.
And he looks a little lost again, but then he like snaps to it and he's like, "Oh, no, I think I'll help Levy and Tobias find whatever they're looking for here. I've got a history looking through books, you see."
Aaron nods and looks disappointed.
Hawkster just like tilts his head to the side a little bit, but he probably goes like, "Nah, he's probably fine." Just goes about his business, standing there and being awkward.
Aww.
Hawk is just cycling through reboots, like in the corner.
Blue screen. He's got that.
I would like to
screensaver
note
of the
that he's.
pipes going.
I would like to note that he doesn't usually seem this spaced out.
All right. Sus. Honestly, Sus and Un would usually say something, but having just gotten revealed Hawk is, Aaron doesn't want to point out that anything Hawk's doing might not be normal.
Probably a good idea.
In front of Varhasa and Theoden, or just in general?
Well, both.
You should let yourself get studied by the university. I'm sure nothing bad could ever happen.
Sure. Totally hasn't been hiding what he is for exactly that reason.
All right, is anybody else coming with us, or just Aaron?
I think everybody else is either studying or having an arts and crafts time.
All right.
Some people are having moments.
Some people just need to really huff books. Great. All right, we're on our way.
I told you Levy was a nerd. Damn.
All right.
We're out of here. So long, nerds.
Nerds.
So
As they're walking out, Aaron realizes that he just left with Lish and Demir, and just, oh gosh.
What have I done?
Oh gosh.
Third wheeling it.
Panic shaking.
So
But I think this is
B,
a
are
good idea.
you doing anything, or are you just still doing arts and crafts with Theoden?
He is bonding with Theoden.
Okay.
Hawk I would actually like to talk with B for a little bit. Cause Hawk is curious about stuff. He's gonna like shake himself out of whatever stupor he's gotten himself into recently and like walk over
Quite suspicious.
and say, B, do you have a moment?
He will nod, smile at Theoden and nod and say, "A moment," and get up to go with B.
Theoden will nod and kind of start examining the ink bottle, like holding it up to the light and just looking at it.
Oh, we don't need to go anywhere. Hopefully I'm not gonna be I'm curious about a thing or two, but hopefully I'm not going to ask about anything personal.
B will tilt her head.
Well, you see, I'm concerned about putting this politely, but I've never seen a Hawk just sort of like starts just like gesturing with his hands bird person before you.
That's not rude at all.
B will laugh, get out a fresh piece of paper, and just write down, "I'm a Kenku."
Kenka. Kenku? Can't say I've ever heard of them. What? What are they like?
She'll write down, "I could say the same of you. but I couldn't claim to know that much about Kenkus other than personal experience.
Well, personal experience would be the best metric, I'd say.
He shrugs. And writes, didn't really grow up with other Kenkus, so I don't know a lot about them. I've read about them, though, and the general consensus is that they committed some atrocity against the gods a jillion years ago, and
Jillian, love it.
and don't have wings or voices anymore.
That's sad to hear. That was going to be my next question, actually. That I find it interesting how you can't speak and yet you're able to replicate almost perfectly. I've never heard another person do what you can with that voice.
Thank you kindly, in Tobias's voice.
Yeah, yes, that exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
She'll kind of laugh at him and then open her mouth and produce the sound of the spectral violins from the people eating until they died room in the demon realm.
And that
That's a choice
too,
of
that's
words.
just amazing.
That catches Theoden's attention again, and he looks interested.
I've heard about birds, not people, birds, that can do things like that, but I've never heard stories of them doing anything like that. It's just amazing.
She'll nod appreciatively.
I also noticed this hand thing that you've been doing. What is that?
She will write down on a piece of paper. It's a way of talking that doesn't require your voice. Language like Elven or Common, but spoken with your hands.
Oh my
friend
god,
taught it to me.
I thought he was talking about hand holding for a minute. I'm like, talk about know what hand holding is.
I mean, I won't say that's not out of character, but
Anyway, sorry, that's just where my mind went. I'm like, and I was confused.
jeez, Avery, get your mind out of the gutter.
Hand holding.
Sacrilegious.
No hand holding before. No hand holding before.
Excuse you. This is a
the
family
Christian
Christian voice call. You can't talk about hand holding in here. Oh
That
god,
doesn't
Marital
sound very
hand-holding
socially
tisk
distant.
tisk.
that's very unsocially distant of you, bruh. I can see Felix losing their shit. I'm so sorry. I don't feel like I should apologize. Clearly you're having a good time.
And if so, what are you trying
Not
to
in
do?
my Christian Minecraft server.
Fucking
God.
hell.
Maybe y'all should stop being so funny so I die less.
Not gonna happen, I'm sorry.
Guess I'll just keep fucking dying.
Mood.
Then
Okay.
perish.
Then perish.
Oh no.
All right.
Oh no!
So
We
to
got
get back on
Felix.
track. Okay, where was it? Right.
With you,
Hand thing.
2021, they will be there.
It is a bit unfortunate, this whole thing. I know you have the book, so you can still talk, and you can copy what others say perfectly, which is, again, amazing, but do you think you could use a translator?
She tilts her head.
Well, you could probably guess from what I am that I've got a better memory than most. Well, that's not entirely true, I guess, but I'd be willing to learn that. Perhaps relay it to others when needed.
She kind of smiles and writes down, I'd be happy to teach it to you if you like.
I would like that, yes.
Demir and Levy have also expressed an interest, so we've
Interesting.
had a few lessons, but haven't gotten very far, so it'd be easy for you to catch up.
Okay, maybe I'll try to sit in on the next one then. Hopefully I won't be too much of a burden.
Of course not.
Awesome. Okay.
And she'll write down, she'll kind of hesitate, and then she'll write, actually, I've been meaning to ask you about something.
Go ahead.
And she'll wipe her hand on the paper because it still has a little bit of ink on it from before, and reach into her bag and pull out the picture of everyone together that you gave her when you first showed up. And she'll kind of look at it in concern and hand it to you, and write down, did this happen?
Hawk sort of just like takes the paper in his hand, looks down at it, like looks at what B wrote down, looks back down at the picture, and say, I don't know. I'm not sure, especially now.
She'll kind of furrow her brow and like just kind of scribble on the page, and write down, remember that snake that took people's memories?
I do, yes, but I don't know if anything could have taken mine. And you may have noticed that everyone in there looks more mature, and I've barely changed. I'd say I look younger in this, even. If such a thing could happen.
She squints and writes down, I guess. I just hate the idea that someone could get into your head, change things without you knowing.
I don't think that would be easy, all things considered. Not even I know everything about myself. But
I've had my head messed with before.
Hawk sort of looks over at B after reading that and says, really?
She nods and then hesitates and writes down, but I usually know that it happened. And then pauses and writes down below that on a new line, I think.
So I guess we're both not entirely sure about our own memories then.
She kind of laughs awkwardly and writes down, well, thank you. In a way, I'm kind of relieved that you don't remember this happening either.
Well, hopefully we'll find answers in time. Perhaps together.
She nods.
One more thing. When Thanon said the date, did anything seem off about that?
I'm not sure. I was more focused on she herself, I think. I look at her and feel the same fuzz at the back of my head that I do when I look at the photo.
Hawk like nods sagely and says, I had the same feeling when I first saw her. I think Demir did too. It's a strange phenomenon.
Bee will nod
think
and
she
she'll write.
It sounds like she knows as well.
The moth seems to trust her. I don't think she's dangerous, but there's definitely something wrong.
Wrong indeed. Well, I suppose our investigation can wait for another day. We've been through a lot recently, and I think we could use some time away from danger.
Bee will nod and write, it seems like a lot of us need to go somewhere with danger in between here and there.
I guess I'm the only one who can't relate. I don't have anywhere to go, really. Not yet. Only someplace to run from.
Bee will kind of laugh, like, almost angrily, like, but as a bird noise, I guess.
The same, but slightly squeakier.
And she'll write, yeah, I'm mostly trying to help the others get where they needed to go.
Same here. I was Hawk sort of briefly tilts his head toward Theoden, thinks maybe I shouldn't mention what I am or hint to that, and says I was employed in a similar state of mind to help. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I helped my former master, I helped my teacher, and now I think I want to help, well, everyone else here. It seems that some of us have more problems than others, of course. Or rather, more concerning problems.
He will kind of think on this, and she'll write, yeah, I've never really wanted anything for myself either. Maybe once, if that counts. And for what it's worth, I don't think he's gonna be someone who would pass judgment on someone based on what they are. Referencing
Theoden,
his
right?
look at, was it Theoden?
Yeah, Theoden. Yes, but there were the two people I mentioned. They were both afraid of what I am, but for different reasons. Rosania was afraid of my appearance, afraid of what other people would do if they saw me. Much like our large friend here. But the other, my old master, he was afraid of what others would do with the knowledge of what I was.
B will write, that sounds hard. I think the only person who's ever been afraid of me is myself. And she'll kind of just look at her hand and just kind of like rub her thumb and forefinger together and frown.
For what it's worth, I don't think you're anyone to be afraid of.
She'll kind of laugh at that and write, thanks. I don't think you are either.
Theoden had been trying not to listen to the conversation because he's a good boy and he's polite. But when you guys started talking about people being afraid, he will kind of put the ink pot down like very carefully so that he doesn't break it on accident because he's strong. And he will say, people are afraid, but family can help. And he will kind of incline his head towards Varhasa. And then he goes back to the drawing as best he can.
That's true.
And B will kind of smile and write, I guess we're family then, with like a little swish at the end, all fancy. And then write, your mask does look a lot like a bird. And then she'll laugh at her own joke.
Well, funny you say that. It was carved with that in mind.
V will kind of smile.
Well, I'm sure you've got more art lessons to give Theoden, and I shouldn't keep Tobias and Levy waiting. It was nice talking with you and learning. I look forward to learning later.
Smile and nod, and then hold up the sign for Hawk and say, in his own voice back at him, Hawk.
Do I have to roll to try and copy that?
Well, you roll an intelligence check to see how well it sticks with you.
Sure, let's do that. Character sheet, please. Thank you. All right, don't fail me now. It failed me now. That's a 1.
Yeah.
It's a 3.
For the record, the sign language
Hello,
in
my name is
ASL
Victoria, and I teach American.
For Hawk is that.
Oh, looks like talons. That's clever.
Yeah, and up to your mouth like that. But no, you don't fucking remember. You're
I mean, it's kind of hard because B already has talons, so maybe she's just like, maybe it would look different if like a person did it, but like.
I'm gonna say that Hawk just like misinterprets it because of that. Then like maybe like his fingers aren't bent enough.
She said you were family, so she's probably trying to do a secret sign language like message with you, like, "Hey, we're family, we're bros."
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. Okay.
B will smile at his attempt and roll up the paper she was writing on and put it back in her bag, and then go back to drawing pictures.
Okay.
Hawk stands up and heads over to the book gang.
By the way, B, when you and Theoden are done drawing, Theoden kind of like shuffles over to his big sister and holds out his hands with the ink on them. And she just casts prestidigitation to clean up, and she turns to you and says, I would be glad to help you as well if you so choose. I won't do anything without your permission.
You will kind of tilt her head.
clean your hands. I mean, you have finger painting, so. But if you prefer water, that's understandable.
B will say, thank you kindly.
Do you hold out your hands to her?
Yeah.
Yep. She casts prestidigitation. It's kind of funny, like, you know how fizzy water feels in your mouth?
Yeah.
It's like that, but on your hands, and then there's no more ink on your hands.
They're the same color.
Yeah.
But now they're not gross. Now they're not going to leave residue places.
That's good.
Theoden kind of gathers up the drawings you guys made and says to you, I'm going to put them in my room. Thank you for drawing with me.
B will smile and say, anytime, in Demir's voice.
And he starts, like, heading off, presumably upstairs.
I love him. He's my spirit animal.
And Varhasa says, thank you so much for doing that with him. He gets lonely sometimes.
B will look sad and nod. And doesn't really have the words to say the thing she want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So she just kind of barks out a Frankenbite. Friends important.
And I appreciate the discretion for you all. I'm sure you understand now why it is not exactly safe for him to be out and about all that often. But if you wish to come back and spend more time with the two of us, I would be glad for the company and so with Theoden.
He nods.
And you, by the way, kind of get a certain vibe. The name Theoden sounds more like a human name rather than a drow or elf name. It's just kind of a little tickle in the back of your head that you kind of like that's not really a drow name.
All right.
So Levy and Tobias and later Hawk, but I'll start with Levy and Tobias first. What are y'all doing?
Well, Levy's helping Toby look for the look through the lycanthropy books, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, easy enough. Toby, the books are waiting for you at the front desk as promised. What are you looking for in particular?
I guess essentially, one of the things that Tobias. Sorry, I'm just writing. Oh my god, I can't even spell words right. I'm just. So I make sure I know what I'm asking. Okay, so Tobias research. Lycanthropy tribes. Like the one Opsy would tell him about.
Yeah, actually very well, I'll tell you what, roll an investigation check. Just in the books.
Okay.
And does he tell Levy that so she can also come through any books that she has her hands on?
Tobias will tell her that he's looking for groups of blood hunters capable of lycanthropy.
Okay. So should we roll separately, or is Levy just going to help so that you have advantage?
Yeah, you can either roll separately, or you can have Tobias roll with advantage.
From the sound of it, maybe I should roll separately, huh?
I got an 8.
Roll separately.
I was about to ask, like, why did I just hear a loud fuck? And I was like,
Rolled
wait,
an 8.
who said that?
Investigation, right?
Is everything all right? Then Mackenzie said she rolled a name. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a mood.
Okay,
It's investigation, right?
investigation, yes.
Oh boy, that's a 3.
Hawk needs to get down there soon. We need a third chance.
Y'all are tired from the road. Have never been
okay.
in libraries.
Mentally text
Fine.
from the creepy jester place.
He was told all this years ago. Doesn't even know the name.
Phoebe only has a vague idea
What
of
was
what
the
she's looking
powerhouse
for,
of
and
the cell
also
again?
she has something on her mind at the moment, so she's a little mentally preoccupied, even though she's doing her best to try and help.
Like,
So,
who the fuck is
Tobias,
a
you end up kind of finding a book about the hunting habits of wereboars, which is not really at all what you're looking for.
I mean, it's close. Boar is only like one letter away from bear.
Yeah. Levy, you end up finding, the book that you're reading is a really interesting saga of like this werewolf that was cursed with the transformation, and you're cursed with the transformation. He's desperately looking for a cure, and he falls in love along the way, and you are reading a novel.
Levy's gonna get probably like a few paragraphs in, make some kind of frustrated sound, close it, and kind of huff and say, I think they might have brought us the wrong book with this one.
It's a really sweet love story.
I mean, hey, if you just
Let's
look
break
up
this
one,
up.
if you only look
She's
up
looking
one
for
word
her.
in Powell's registry and like read every book on there, you're gonna get some stuff that's not related.
Yeah. Eventually, after a little while, Hawk wanders down. Do you join them, or do you do your own thing?
I'm gonna help them find what they're looking for first.
Okay. Roll investigation.
Roll better than us, please.
No guarantees. I'm sorry.
Shit.
Please be good. That's a 9. Only marginally better than Tobias. Oh God. Avery, I thought I uncursed these dice. It's back.
You have to take them to me so I can uncurse them. You find a book that briefly mentions that there was a clan in the unclaimed lands of lycanthropes. They're not there anymore. There's not much information beyond that, but
Is there more information on the unclaimed lands in the book?
I mean, what sort of information are you looking for in regards to the unclaimed lands?
If it's got information about the unclaimed lands, just like I want to soak it all in because I know nothing.
Well, unclaimed lands, it's more of a tundra. It's kind of dangerous up there. There's like potentially dragons or linnorms. There's like rumors to be Baba Yaga up there in her hut with chicken's feet. This is more of like a crash course of like, here's a basic summary of the unclaimed lands. There are humanoid tribes up there. they're mostly nomadic. Some humans, some Goliaths. You know, with that investigation check, it's a miracle you got that information.
Honestly, yes. I just got sidetracked.
Yeah.
Oh, after a while, Hawk's just like, well, I guess I shouldn't plan a trip there anytime soon, and closes the book and puts it back.
Yeah. Dangerous land is basically the info you get. You kind of get the impression, low key, that the book was written somewhat as a form of propaganda. Like, you wouldn't want to go up there. You'd want to stay here in the.
You want to stay here in the
rest of
cities,
the
or you
continent
can
where
take your
it's
money.
safe. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know.
I'm actually gonna approach Tobias this time and say, so why search for blood hunters? I've never heard of those before.
When Hawk walks up to Tobias, Tobias is like looking at this book, not finding anything, gently closes it, pushes it forward, and then just thumps his head onto the desk. And then when Hawk approaches him, like, he just slowly looks up. He just looks tired. It's the man who taught me how to control this. That's what he was, and I believe that's what I am as well.
But that doesn't make any sense. You have your own blood. Why do you need to hunt more?
I don't know.
You can tell that he's dead serious.
I love Hawk so much.
I don't know much about how all of this works. When my mentor was first telling me about these things, it was a lot. And after that first transformation, I was too afraid to even try. So unfortunately, there's a lot of knowledge about what blood hunters even are that I lack.
Well, searching for werewolf anything doesn't seem to give us much results. I'll try and look for something more blood hunter related. Maybe then I'll figure out why they're hunting blood in the first place.
I don't know how much that will help in terms of just blood hunters. I just know that my mentor came from a group of people, a tribe that were like him. They were capable of lycanthropy.
One book mentioned something about tribes of people who do live in the unclaimed lands, but it sounds too dangerous to check out right now. That might not even be that might not even be what we're looking for. Don't mind my minor stroke. Hawk didn't have one.
There's a tribe in the unclaimed lands.
Well, I didn't say it was a tribe of werewolves or a tribe of blood hunters, just that there were people who lived up there.
I should clarify.
Oh, yes, please do.
Most of the tribes that live up there didn't mention if they're lycanthropes or not. It did mention one that was lycanthropes. They are no longer there anymore.
Oh, right. No,
They haven't been there
Boars,
for a
right?
long time.
right. Yeah.
Boars.
Oh, right. No, right. They weren't there. No, they've moved on, I think. Sorry. I
Do you think we would
interrupted
be
Kenzie.
able
Go
to find
ahead.
where?
That's a good question. Kenzie said something. I interrupted her. Sorry.
No, I just was saying I remember it was boar lycanthropes, right?
That was what Tobias found in his book with his low roll. The hunting habits of wereboars. It's clearly the book that Tobias was reading is for someone doing their thesis on that specific topic. So
Where are the boars? They're the boars. I'm sorry, Felix.
No, you are not.
You're right.
Mister, I'm gonna sing a Fortnite song in character voice. Despicable.
It hurts me as much as it hurts you.
I don't believe you.
It is pain having that song stuck in my head. Please help.
Pain you deserve.
Well, clearly this research session is not going anywhere.
You could probably stand to have another look, but if nothing comes up from that, then perhaps I'll have to look elsewhere.
All right, let's give it
We're
one more
also
shot.
We're also
All right.
fresh out of traveling. Maybe it'll help to come back to it tomorrow.
That is a good point.
She'll say to Tobias, I guess am I getting the impression that they're getting ready to just leave? They're cleaning up their stuff and
Tobias feels more or appears more frustrated than anything. At the mention of giving another look, he looks more prepared to try searching through the tomes again to see if either he missed something or.
okay. Great. Levy's feeling a bit, I don't know, I guess not great about not being that big a help especially when she was like, oh, I'm great at this, and then
It's okay. She's just on an off day.
roll the 3. So she's gonna stand up and gather up her personal belongings and kind of whatever she was, looking through. She's gonna make all neat and tidy and stack up in a nice little pile, and she's gonna make a very exaggerated yawn. She's trying to act natural about it, but it's forced. And she's gonna kind of grimace and say, well, I'm sorry I couldn't help more. Maybe I should just go get some more rest. I think I'm going to go figure out what rooms the others got for us. And she's gonna kind of just take off.
At this point, we'll switch over to Demir, Lish, and Erin. Now, I'm pretty sure I made the red cap rest if that's what it's even called.
Yeah, it was called the Red Caps Rest. I
Okay,
remember
cool.
that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Just
Isaac
making
Bello
sure.
was the dude.
I think it was 5. What's 5 or 8 silver pieces? I think it was 8 silver pieces because it was comfortable. I recall. 8 silver pieces per room. How many rooms are you getting?
More
You
than
can
two.
you can force us to actually have buddy rooms or solo rooms now.
Yeah,
Now
more
that we're not
than
present.
2.
Yeah, 3 would work.
We can always
3,
get
yeah.
more.
3?
Yeah.
Okay. So whoever's
3
paying
to start with.
can mark that down.
Who's paying? How much was it?
It's 8 silver pieces per room.
So that's
Aaron reaches into like, combo room because presumably he'll be staying in one, and pulls out his coins and puts them down, and then upon doing so realizes that was only 5 silver pieces.
Is that all of his money in the world?
Yes.
It's 5
I have
silver
like
pieces?
a few copper.
Oh, child.
God.
Aaron.
Your sugar parents for the day. It's fine.
Giving you guys loot.
Yeah, Hawk hasn't.
I have like 250 golden gems that I still have yet to dole
Yeah.
out because we haven't had we had
Oh, I
one
love
chance
that.
to.
There is
Also, I don't
cat
supposed to
hair
divvy out gems.
all over my face.
I'll,
Yeah.
God.
I'll cover the. I'll
Sorry.
cover the price of the rooms. 3 rooms. What was it? 4 or 8 silver pieces each.
8 silver pieces each.
8 silver pieces each. Do some quick math.
Your 3 rooms, 8 silver. That would be 10.
It's
2 gold, 4 silver.
Yep. Okay, fine.
Are there any conversations that need to happen?
Oh yeah, you two have
before
got
everyone else show up?
Aaron all to yourself.
You fucking do.
the most prying person in the party and his partner in crime, literally.
More like inquisitive, curious.
Nosy.
I'm just thinking back to the time Hawk was like, "Do you not see fire there?" And she's like, "Maybe." What are you?
I mean, you were asking him if he slept or not, and he was
That's like a
"Why
everyday
are you
question for an elf,
asking
I'm pretty
this?"
sure.
Weird
Do you ask Demir what
questions
she
asked.
was when she inevitably asked you if you sleep? I'm just teasing. You're fine.
I mean, he
Consistently
found out.
very
He
intense.
found out the natural way.
Basically, they didn't really have to have a deep conversation of it.
Yeah.
What are you? I'm a
Um,
woman, baby. Can't you tell? I'm sorry.
I don't know what's going on anymore. We got our rooms.
Right. Yes.
I'm
You have your
confused.
You
rooms.
got your
Really?
rooms.
Yes,
I
if
assume
there's
you're
any
sitting
conversations you
in
wanna have.
the main part of the tavern section. There's plenty of tables available at this time of day. Are you guys interrogating each other, or are you just waiting in silence until everyone else shows up?
Cracked knuckles.
well, well, Demir kind of like on the way over is kind of keeping to herself. Like she's with the group, but she's not really like talking to anyone or looking at anyone. Finds the table when they get there and just kind of like lets Lish pay for the rooms, and is just kind of sitting there, looking a little lost, I guess you could say. Just a little bit. She's not.
He's gonna ask if Demir wants any food. Can you get some food? Aaron, are you eating?
Oh, I remember. I think last time they had a meat platter here.
Sure,
Yes,
sure,
yes, I
board.
think I
Split a
am.
meat platter last time.
They've got ale. They've got banquet per person. They've got bread loaf and cheese hunk.
Loaf
Aaron
and
eyes
cheese
the
hunk.
ale. Lish
Bread
gives him a
loaf
side
and
eye.
cheese hunk.
Aaron's not allowed to order ale, so we'll have to
Exactly.
get a meat platter.
Okay. I mean that can be the same as banquet, I guess. It's 10 gold pieces, or if you want cheese hunk, that's
a
one silver
lot.
piece.
Cheese hunk. Cheese hunk.
That's a lot for a
One-
meat platter.
One meal.
I'm just going off of the info here.
I would say banquet's like feast for 10, right?
Yeah.
This won't come up because I don't think he'll mention it, but Aaron is going to be just eating so much more food than
Why?
it seems reasonable that Aaron would be eating.
Puts it away.
Aaron only knows how to binge things. Aaron does not know how to consume.
Is there just like a simple like dinner, like some stew, or I guess it's pretty early still, isn't it? Like mid-afternoon or so.
Yeah, it's
lunch.
fairly early. Let's see. I'm pulling up more interesting things.
Where
so-
is their lunch sandwiches?
It's like a lunch.
Okay,
stew.
so
Guys, got
there's
any Reubens?
meat stick, there's roasted locusts, there's a cheese omelet, ham and cheese on rye, there's bacon and egg sandwich, there's omelet, there's scrambled eggs, there's bacon stuffed bread, there's frittata and herbs, more bacon and eggs, boar, ham, and steak and eggs, and truffle omelet. And then there's more. That was just a breakfast menu. What are you in the mood for?
Jesus Christ, we're at the fucking like cheesecake factory of inns.
Welcome to Golden Corral. May I take your order?
A textbook of a menu.
I just Googled for more interesting meals. So
There you go. You got more interesting meals.
Yeah, Lish is gonna try and get Demir to eat some hydrate.
why don't you have more some roast lamb and cheese? That's 4 silver pieces.
There you go. Get something for the two of them to share.
Okay.
Lish will moderate.
Moderate?
He's not gonna eat any of it, so
Aaron is like,
You say moderate, and my mind just goes to like Aaron reaches for one too many slices of bread, and like Lish slaps the back of his hand.
the thing with
They-
Aaron right now is Aaron is at the same time just normally eating a meal and also absentmindedly snacking on the same meal. So you'll just like, I don't know, cut off a hunk of thing, chew it, and then just grab something and stuff it in his mouth.
oh, geez.
As far as non-alcoholic drinks go, there's coffee, goodberry wine,
Ooh, there's goodberry wine.
Goodberry wine.
That might actually be
fruit,
something I can
fruit
eat.
juice, and milk. As far as non-alcoholic drinks go,
Goodberry wine sounds really interesting, actually.
Since
it's
like
not
a,
actual wine.
it's like a
but-
magic fruit, so I could probably eat that.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah, it's,
if you know what a goodberry is, the idea of goodberry juice sounds interesting.
It disappears after 12 hours, 24 hours.
Not very good for
That would
packaging.
kind of be an awesome like trap. Like, oh, you feed someone and they eat, and then like as soon as they exit the premises or after a certain amount of time has passed, they like all of that food stops having ever existed, and then they just instantly starve to death.
Oh,
That's not actually how Goodberry works, I'm pretty sure. But I mean, that is creative.
Oh, I love that.
That would be
That
hard.
is really fun.
And I think
boy.
Aaron's gonna snag down some milk
Okay.
and then think for a second and order a second milk.
Milk is 2 copper pieces each. So
Hell yeah. I can afford that.
Something,
You only have a couple copper
something. The milk drinker NPC from Skyrim.
And then
Demir is watching Aaron absolutely demolish this meal and just kind of like, oh, this is something to focus on that's not like whatever is going on in my head.
Oh, hey, look, something that isn't existential dread.
Lish is gonna make sure that Aaron doesn't just eat the whole damn thing.
No, I want to see how he does this. I want to see how it goes.
noticing that, I don't know, what they're eating seems to be the main focus of stuff. It's gonna say, this is good, isn't it? At Demir.
I'm picturing like the opening of Spirited Away where her parents are like, wow, food. And she's like,
And to
Same.
his credit, the second milk comes over, Aaron's just, when the milk's come over, Aaron is just gonna kind of side-eye Lish and then slide Lish the second milk.
Is this a bribe of some kind?
Do they want any?
Are you talking about me, or are you talking about the fairies?
Yeah. Yeah, your friends.
Kind of plucks them out. See if there's like a little saucer or something, he'll kind of like sanction out the milk into little smaller servings. And let the pixies have a little treat.
And then I guess if conversation hasn't been progressing otherwise.
Well, they're both watching Aaron eat. And Lish is gonna probably comment like, did you not get enough food while we were traveling? Are you right?
Oh no, I'm good.
I don't know how
How old are you?
He's kind of like, I don't know how you can eat so much of that stuff.
His eyes are probably darting around a little at this point.
Okay. What's the deal?
The ghost hungry, Aaron.
How old are you exactly, Aaron?
How long have you been that age, Aaron?
How long have you been that age is my new favorite question.
How long have you been 21?
Oh, that is the question. Okay.
Yeah,
have
we're
this written
seeking
down
answers
somewhere. Oh God.
It's like, did you not eat enough? Why are you eating so much?
I'm fairly sure I heard something about teenage boys eating this much. You're not a teenager, are you?
No. No.
How old are you?
Give me a second.
That's a good question, but my player forgot to note it on the sheet.
Yeah. Yeah, he's low 20s.
Early 20s, okay.
20s.
I mean, hey, starving college kid.
Yeah, low 20s.
He's got to fuel his rage somehow.
This just reminds me of like something I saw recently. I don't know if it was in this server or not, but it was like, our DM didn't have player tokens, so instead he put like gummy worms and stuff on the map, and whoever killed them got to eat them. And the dramatic crux of the session was when we fought a boss, and you put a huge freaking donut in front of a group of hungry college kids.
Anyway, and then I think Aaron's gonna ask Lish. So, where did you meet them? Gesturing at the fairies.
I suppose that they've always been around since they were born. They are creatures that tend to come and go, and
Are they?
You know.
He's gonna start saying part and then stop and say related to you.
He kind of gestures to the tiny little snowflake creature, the tiny little flower creature, and the tiny little bug creature, and lean forward on the table and say, "Are you asking me if they are my children?"
No, and then his eyes are gonna go wide and he's gonna say, unless they are, but like, did you?
They're not my children.
Part in their creation?
No. Fairies, like I said, come and go. They have their own ways. They're pixies. I do not create every single fae creature that lives in the Feywild. They're servants. They are servants that serve me, and I did not create them to do so. Just like you would not need to summon a golem necessarily to have a golem as your servant.
Like the
giant
big guys
snake,
from
yes.
earlier?
The giant snake, yes.
And I think without much context applied, Aaron's just gonna smile encouragingly at Demir.
What does that mean?
Excuse me?
What is he smiling encouragingly about?
I just I really respect you.
Okay.
This conversation's gone way off the board.
They're not my children either.
No?
I don't even know if they have parents traditionally. Not a lot of Fae have parents, per se.
No, they just have babies that have been stolen.
Well, not stolen, not usually.
Stolen. Taken.
Offered. Exchanged. We all know words.
Aaron doesn't.
This is a conversation that Demir and Lish have had many times. It seems.
Lish is just like breezing through it with like a practice. He's like,
It's
this
very-
again. And then Demir's just like still trying to like stab him with her words. It's not working.
Why are you so interested in if they're my children or not?
I guess I just realized I don't really know that much about them.
So you don't know that
pixie?
much about me.
The shade is off the charts. At this point, like they didn't select the darkened corner of the tavern away from everyone else, but it's become that just because of how darkened their table is now.
Alicia's gonna kind of like tilt his head on his hand and say, well, we don't know very much about you either. I'm
That
just
is
now
true.
realizing.
You're asking a lot of questions. I think it's fair that you answer some in exchange.
I suppose so.
So you and Levy, huh?
Food.
So you and Levy, huh?
So you and Levy, huh?
Is that how y'all are phrasing that?
That's what Demir says.
What all did you go off in the hallway the other day to talk about?
You sure are blushing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You like girls, Aaron?
What was so good that you said?
Well, I don't know if I would want to confide things that that Levy had thought pertinent to confide to me if she had not thought it pertinent to confide them in you. I'm sure you understand.
I'm sure Levy will tell us what she wants to tell us in good time.
But I'm small smile here. I'm glad. I was glad that that she felt like she could confide them in me.
And did you tell her anything interesting about yourself?
Oh, there's not much interesting about me.
Oh, I disagree.
I think there's a lot of interesting things about you.
I mean, a man who can demolish an entire flank of lamb in one afternoon really has something special.
A man who summons spectral men to stand behind them is certainly interesting.
Who was that man?
That was my ancestor.
Your ancestor.
Are you haunted?
No, nothing of the sort. But I don't think I have enough information to say that. Shit.
If you're not 100%, you can message me, and I'll answer. Otherwise, like your safest bet is the little worksheet I gave you before we officially started playing.
Oh boy, Devin's got a worksheet. That's that's pretty intense.
Hey, you got it too.
I guess.
They're in my files, like information for Erin or information for Lish, information for Tobias.
Information for Hawk. I actually copied the document that Avery sent me and put it on my own drive just to make sure I had it.
Yeah,
it's in my notes.
Yep, I've actually got two documents. I've got one for the stuff Avery gave me and one for the stuff that Hawk's been learning over sessions.
I love that.
I have 10 pages of notes on my computer right now.
I also wrote out like the script for Hawk's reveal the other session.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
I had to modify it a little bit on the fly, but
that's how improv goes.
It is, yeah. I can't account for everything that's gonna happen during that, so
we're like wiggling our eyebrows at Erin.
Aaron doesn't know enough about
his
other
ancestors
religions to say the thing he's trying to say. But I'm gonna go with, B. B has a god that she worships, and I do believe there are others, and it's the same way with my ancestor.
Does
Please
he have a name?
elaborate.
Yes. His name is Harold. Is that how that's pronounced?
Harold Oath Guide.
Gotcha. Yes, his name is Harold.
And he was a religious man, and as such, he follows you around.
No. Well, I suppose you could say he was religious. But no, I'm the one. I'm the one who's religious.
Interesting.
You worship Errol?
Yes. Him and I mean their ancestors as well, but primarily Harold. At least he is the only. Yes.
And have you always had this skill, or is it something that you've acquired?
I think it's time for me to ask a question now.
So ask a question.
Lish, you were talking earlier about Fae families. Do you have a family?
Fae families. He seems thoughtful at that idea of like Fae having like full-on families. I have Demir.
And shit. I'm gonna roll for this actually. Let's do a charisma check.
Roll to see if you have the balls to ask.
Okay, that's decent enough. That's a 15. Going for it. And you said that you don't have children, but do you plan to?
He kind of straightens and looks at Demir and says, yes, someday.
So he says. Demir just kind of like her body language just visibly changes, like sits back, takes her cup, is looking at it like, so he says.
Demir, do you want children? And Lynn's voice is just, he's trying not to be, but he's incredulous.
Incredulous about not wanting kids ever, or?
Yes.
Oh!
You don't want to bang this hot piece of face?
Banging and having kids are very different.
Very different.
Quite.
No. They're small, they're loud, they're messy. I don't like them.
But someday they're big and speak thoughtfully and can clean up after themselves.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. No.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a certain kind of person, or else it's really bringing just more misery into the world. And I, for one, intend to bring less misery in that aspect.
You You do not feel that you would be a good mother?
I'm not going to be, so it's not to worry.
Lish looks a
Aaron's
little.
gonna sit back a little.
Yeah, Lish is kind of unreadable, but you can kind of tell like it's a conversation that they've had before, and it's not a topic that he likes to think about. Like when she says that she doesn't want to be a mom, he like visibly is just like a little deflated.
Is this a good time for Levy to come looking for her room key?
We haven't gotten all the sus out of Aaron yet.
I was actually gonna say, gonna
Maybe some, like, a
have
juice packet.
once everyone else arrives at the tavern, I'd probably call session there because it's 1:15 now.
Yeah, we are a
geez.
little bit over, but we're having fun, so.
Yeah.
I got one more question for Aaron. I think
Okay.
Lish is
And
gonna
then-
sit up and he's gonna be just like, all right, another question for you.
Yes.
Your face when we talked about the fires with our little goblin friend Peak the other night. You have an experience with the fire that happened up north.
Aaron's face just steals at that. Well, I mean, yes, the damage to my face is from a fire. I cannot conceal that. I've made no attempt to conceal that.
I never said you did. Is the burn from that fire?
I think I would probably prefer not to talk about such a scarring moment.
Scarring moment.
Scarring moment.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
You don't have to talk about it. I'm just curious. You were there.
I was in the middle of a blaze. I did what I could to try to help, to try to get myself out and to try to help others get out. And I suppose in the process, I stayed in there too long.
You lived there.
Well, sometimes. I was there in this fire at the time.
Sorry, what? Sometimes I was there in the fire as it blazed.
Hey, can I make an insight check?
Go for it.
Find out.
We are towing the line very dangerously between my list of things Aaron will talk about and list of things Aaron won't talk about.
I don't think that is. That is a 5.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Your family.
Yes, I unlike I'm here, I do have a family.
I meant in the blaze.
Well, yes, it happened where we were camped at the time.
Did you lose them?
I think all this meat has made me quite tired.
Lish,
And Aaron's gonna
Milk,
say
you
that.
mean?
Lish kind of leans forward and he's not asking this like maliciously or anything. He's just genuinely curious. he kind of leans forward to you and says, I know quite a few people, friends of mine, servants of mine that lived in the forest when it burned, and they had to leave. And they had to find other homes, and they lost people. It was a massive inferno. You are not the only one that was touched by it. And you are certainly not alone in your pain. I understand.
It's gonna shrug a little and say, I have no one to go back to. And then probably actually leave.
I think we scared him off.
It's not my intent to scare him, Demir.
Well, it might not be yours, but
Before we call it, Levy, just real quick.
When Levy comes back, I presume Lish and Demir are still like down in the common area. I mean, she probably has to find them for her room key or something. Anyway,
Sure.
And when she goes to retrieve that, she seems pretty closed off and she's not looking at anybody, but she will say quietly, when everyone's back, I think I owe everybody an apology. And then she's gonna book it to her room.
All right.
Apology for what? He's just
We'll
gonna
have
look
to
at
see
Demir
what
like,
happens next time on the
what is
Wild
going on?
And with that, that's where we'll call it for the week.
That's a setup. I can't wait.
Yes.
We're gonna have two.
Why do
late,
we have
we're gonna
to
have
wait
like
a
two
week?
late night party shared realizations, revelations in a row.
So,
Hell yeah.
why do we have to wait a week?
Right?
that's how the passage
Get
of
chilly
time
as a
works, I'm
bitch.
afraid.
More Aaron interrogation. It is what
Less
I want.
Aaron interrogation.
We're just
sorry,
making
Aaron.
conversation.
Erin provided Demir something else to focus on, and she does not let go of things when she has something new to grab onto.
I still have a conversation that I need to have with Demir.
Didn't left the
I've got
table.
I've got a new conversation I need to have with Demir. Albeit a short one.
I was close, but it didn't really end up going in that direction.
Boo. Boo. We got some good info out of Aaron. Now we just need to know what's under his
Wait,
shirt.
did we? Damn it.
It's cool hearing stuff about B too. Like I feel like there's some stuff with B that we should definitely need to explore more because you know so little.
My sister
Oh, man.
We just need
disappeared,
to
but I will
find
pass
we just need to
on
find
her
even better
compliments.
excuses than hey, what are you actually? Because
I have a conversation that I need to have with B. I have a conversation I need to have with all of you. Just assume I have at least one thing. I'm
still like eagerly awaiting the day Tobias is like, hey, that crackly lightning thing, what is that? I remember Mackenzie mentioning that was on her list of things to bug people about.
Yeah, I'm currently compiling a list of information of what character mysteries there are, what information I've gotten, / like what Tobias has gotten and knows. It's a process. It's
Fucking
so I apologize if I might seem a
Sylvia
little
board.
I apologize if I might seem distant or like not as responsive and stuff. I think it's because I'm just like filtering through information. While also trying to take notes on session.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's fine as long as you're present, you know.
Yeah.
Anywho, thank you all for playing.
This is a time. I loved it.
We'll pick it up next week with some more shenanigans.
Woo!
Woo!
Thank
Thank y'all.
Yes.
See you guys around. Have a great weekend. Have a great
See you
Easter.
next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.